Game day's here, I can hear the crowd. Turn on the lights, fans are cranked up and loud. Red or blue, we wear it proud. Yeah, we love our teams in this border town. Chiefs and Royals, Boo Mizzou, Rock Chalk, Jayhawk, KU. Hear that drum pounding in your feet. Yeah, you're marching to the beat of KC.
What is going on, YouTube? What is going on, Kansas City? And what is going on, everybody? And welcome to the beat of KC. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Lucas Murphy, and I'm excited to talk Kansas City Royals baseball. I mean, the reason is because here in Kansas City, it's insanely cold. I think I woke up this morning, it was like -6 degrees. The wind chill was at like -15. There's snow on the ground. It is by far nowhere close to being baseball weather. But what's exciting is the fact that Keith Law decided to put out his latest top 100 prospect list. We are getting closer every single day to spring training, which really starts to kind of kindle the fires for baseball. I'm extremely excited to talk about this, and really, the Kansas City Royals have 3 prospects, and I'm mostly excited to talk to you about each one. I mean, they each provide something different, and what's exciting is the Kansas City Royals have some relevancy on this list, and so I really am excited to talk to you about that. So it really enforces the belief that the Kansas City Royals farm system is somewhat turning the corner. Now, obviously, Carter Jensen, who we'll be talking about first, will probably be promoted off of the list because he'll get plenty of playing time this year, barring any injury or anything like that. So you will get a graduation off the list. But some of the other guys, I really am excited to see how they continue to develop on this list. And not only do the Royals have elite talent at catcher because Blake Mitchell comes in at number 56, they're also starting to stockpile high upside arms. And coming in at number 61 is Kendry Churio. And if you pay attention to the Kansas City Royals farm system, I think you're pretty familiar with who Kendry Churio is. If you're not, we're going to talk a little bit about him. One of the persons I was kind of surprised that wasn't on here was David Shields. I think he could potentially have a decent amount of promise, but we'll have to see if he eventually can climb onto a Keith's top 100 at some point. But you know, I do believe the Kansas City Royals are starting to really stockpile the proper amount of prospects, and I think that they're going to have really a good development because the organization has really kind of completely redesigned itself ever since Dayton Moore left, and I think this is starting to head in a very good direction. Now, we're going to jump in. Carter Jensen does come in at number 10 overall. Carter is by far probably one of my favorite players to follow, to watch, to talk about. I've interviewed him. He is a genuine guy, loves playing golf. I really, truly believe he's a perfect fit for Kansas City. As you all are aware, he is from Kansas City. He buys into what we're about. He understands what the Kansas City Chiefs are. He knows what this fan base means to the Royals mean to this fan base. There's a lot that I think Carter truly understands, and I really enjoy watching his game, how he plays, his competitive nature, just who he is as a person, how he really takes on playing catcher. There's a lot of things. I mean, we're going to really jump in and talk about this. So Carter Jensen, ranked number 10 overall, immediately tells me he's no longer just a promising prospect. He's a potential cornerstone. And I really think that when you look at Law's evaluation, it reads like that of a player who has already arrived. And he did obviously make it to the major leagues last year and had a decent impact. It was awesome to see hit his first home run, really kind of mesh with this team. You know, Jensen's 2025 season was a steady rise from AA to the big leagues, and he somehow got better at every stop. I mean, it was impressive to watch. Once he reached Kansas City, he put together one of the best rookie debuts in baseball. Among rookies with at least 50 plate appearances, Jensen ranked 3rd in on-base percentage at .391 and 3rd in slugging with .550, which really jumps off the page. I mean, what stands out to me most is how complete Jensen's game is, and I think that's one of the big things is that he is a catcher. He's a true two-way catcher. A plus defender with a plus arm, above average receiving skills. I think, obviously being able to learn and cohesively come together with Salvador Perez and kind of relieve some of the pressure off of Salvador Perez, it's going to even make Carter that much better behind the dish. I mean, Salvador Perez is probably one of the best captains for the Kansas City Royals, and Carter gets to sit behind him and learn from him, and there's nothing more important than learning from one of the greatest to do it. You know, I also can't overlook how much work he puts into his body, and that's something that I think is significant. And when the Royals drafted him, obviously out of Kansas City, in the third round in 2021, they were legit. There were some concerns, obviously, that he might eventually have to move off of catcher. I'm glad they decided not to do that. Instead, he really kind of reshaped his conditioning. He unlocked his athleticism, and now it shows up in his defense. I think it shows very much so in his hitting. And I think even on the bases where he flashes pretty decent speed for, you know, what would be a catcher. His patience at the plate has always been there, but over the past 2 seasons, he's turned that into production. In the minors last year, when he was ahead in the count, put the ball in play, he posted an absurd 420, 563, 614 slash line. That's just not discipline, that's impact. And I think Law calling Jensen a legit Rookie of the Year candidate feels like it's earned. And I feel like there's a good opportunity for him to really kind of set that as a goal. I mean, some people obviously come into the big leagues and immediately they're like, I'm going after the Rookie of the Year. I truly believe Carter could achieve that if he wanted to. If he really put his mind to it, which I truly believe he will, I think there's a chance he could go after the Rookie of the Year. A catcher who can hit 20 home runs, post a strong OBP, and deliver 3+ WAR immediately because of his defense and positional value is exactly what this organization needs. And I think, just to kind of solidify a little bit more, I think the Kansas City Royals truly believe what they have coming can really kind of add to the production. There for a long time, the Kansas City Royals were talked about going and getting a premier bat for the outfield. And, we have some of those guys actually internally. We just don't know if they can do it for a full season. Now, to have Carter go out there for a full season, to have Caglione go out there for a full season, it may be something that will become better than what they could have traded for. And you're not sacrificing and giving up a ton of product in a market that never sleeps. One name rises above the rest. Lisa Miller from Dan Lynch Real Estate. Trusted by hundreds and recognized across the Midwest. She delivers results when it matters the most. With over 13 years of experience and licenses in both Kansas and Missouri, Lisa isn't just selling houses. She's helping you find a place to call home. Whether you are a first-time home buyer, looking to upsize, or selling your current home, Lisa makes the process smooth and stress-free. As a local expert passionate about building lasting relationships, she ensures her clients feel confident and satisfied every step of the way. Don't wait, your perfect home is just a call away. Contact Lisa today at 913-579-3246 or 913-369-3000 or visit lisamillersaleskc.com. Let Lisa Miller at Lynch Real Estate help you start your next exciting chapter. And let her know the beat of KC, Lucas Murphy, sent you her way. Now, this next one was rumored a ton, potentially in a trade to go get one of those premier bats. And that was number 56 overall, Blake Mitchell. Again, another catching prospect. Blake Mitchell's ranking at number 56 reminds me of just how much belief evaluators still have in his long-term upside. Even after a frustrating injury-filled season, he dealt with a hamate bone injury in February. I can personally relate to him with that. Don't believe I broke mine, but I think I severely injured mine when I was playing college. And holy smokes, even just like gripping, ladies and gentlemen, it's excruciating. So I can completely understand. It followed by a setback during his rehab, during, I believe, that hamate bone injury that prevented him from ever fully regaining his hand strength. Even in the Arizona Fall League, he wasn't quite himself, which isn't usual. Or is unusual for the type of injury. And I think, though, defensively, Mitchell is still pretty special. When healthy, Law considers him the best defensive catcher in the Royals system, which is very fascinating because he spoke very highly of Carter Jensen as well. He's a plus receiver and framer with at least a 60 grade arm, giving him a very high defensive floor. At the plate, the results didn't show up, but the approach did. Mitchell still posted a strong walk rates, including a 372 OBP and high A and 434 OPP in the AFL, which tells me his pitch recognition and discipline have already advanced. Law also believes his more patient approach was partially due to Mitchell not being fully comfortable letting his swing go because of that injury. Ladies and gentlemen, I can 100% tell you the hamate bone is, you don't even know it's there until you injure it. And then everything is just like, holy smokes, my hand, I can't grip anything. I can only imagine getting jammed. And that's how I did mine. Is I got jammed. It was extremely cold. And yeah, when I got jammed, it sent a shockwave down the bat and it went right into my hand and I could just feel it. Oh my gosh, it felt like lightning. But I think, obviously that's probably a very relatable thing to Blake Mitchell. Late in fall, the flashes of his true power started to return. He recorded a 116-mile-per-hour exit velocity in the AFL, consistently topped 100 miles per hour in 9 of his final 10 games where he put the ball in play. That long term, I still see Mitchell as an everyday catcher, a player who hits around probably 230, 240 with 20 home runs and plus defense. It is a regular for nearly any team in baseball. The big question is if I guess my question is if Carter Jensen can get way out front and really kind of take over and become that staple, is the proven aspect of Blake Mitchell doing it this year in the minor leagues, does that just make him even more of a trade candidate? Or would the Kansas City Royals want to pair these two, and have them kind of just be a duel for the most of their career? It's just going to be interesting to see. I mean, catching prospects are very important, especially ones that can hit. A lot of the time you're getting a high-graded defensive catcher that calls extremely good games for his pitchers. He's going to hit 210, 220, and, will add contributions here and there. If you can actually get a catcher that can really fill a slot in the batting lineup and provide you very good statistics, I can only imagine the value that they provide. So that's why it's going to be extremely important and really interesting to see how they handle these two prospects. Now, the final one I think I'm really intrigued about, just because the Kansas City Royals are starting to truly kind of get younger pitching prospects. And this one specifically, Kendry Churio comes in at number 61 overall. The inclusion of Kendry Churio at 61 might be really the most fascinating development on the list. Churio is a reminder that the Royals aren't just developing polished bats, they're also taking smart swings on elite high-ceiling arms. When Churio reached low A last July, he became the first pitcher under the age of 18 really in a full season of ball since Julio Urias in 2013, which alone tells you how special this is. He signed for just $247,500 last January, started in the Dominican Summer League, moved to the Arizona Complex, and across those two levels, he walked one batter in 28 2/3 innings. Now, the level of competition is going to obviously progress as he gets through the ranks, but that is a good sign, a good start, and it's really ridiculous for a 0.9% walk rate. Even after his promotion to the Carolina League, where his walk rate soared to a 4.2%, obviously there's some sarcasm there from Keith Law, and the command still stood out. He did struggle pitching from the stretch, which was interesting, and I completely understand that. You feel a little bit more comfortable out of the windup. The stretch, at times you can feel a little rushed, and I'm sure as a 17-year-old pitcher, you kind of can understand that. Allowing a 340, 389, 740 slash line with men on base in a small sample size, but that's something you expect again from a 17-year-old facing full season competition. I think what really jumps out to me is how advanced he already looks on the mound. Churio doesn't pitch like a teenager. He shows exceptional command of 3-pitch mix that includes a 94-mile-an-hour, really can touch 97, I believe, 4-seam fastball. It does have ride. It has a little natural cut and an upper 70s curveball that falls off the table. I mean, you really kind of get on that thing and that thing snaps off, falls off the table, and an exceptional 84 to 88 mile per hour changeup with good fade. And I think that's one of the big things is they'll continue to work on that changeup because that is an important pitch that he really leaned on heavily against his left-handed hitters. Now, physically, he's already stronger than his listed 160 pounds with a solid lower half that helps him maintain the velocity and leaves room for more as he matures. This obviously risk of any pitcher, because of him being 17 years old, is throwing this hard this early. And so obviously the same could be said for David Shields. A big concern is, is there going to be injury down the road because of that type of momentum on the UCL in his arm, things like that. I'm sure there's a lot of questions, and that's probably why they're taking him along the way they are. He'll need to improve pitching from the stretch, as we discussed earlier, but really from my perspective, this isn't exactly what you want to see in a teenage prospect, or you do want to see in a pitching prospect, especially one that has the potential to have 80 grade command. I mean, this kid is going to be special, ladies and gentlemen, for the Kansas City Royals. He'll continue to be brought along the way he should be. I'm extremely excited to see him, and I, again, don't want to leave out David Shields because I think he's going to be a very fantastic pitcher as well, as those two probably climb the ranks together and will eventually arrive in the Kansas City Royals uniform. Now, I think big picture for the Royals, looking at this list as a whole, I come away with really even more encouragement about the Royals' direction. Carter Jensen looks like a present-day impact player and future Cornerstone, and I'm excited to see him as he gets to spring training. I was going to bring a video to you all really talking about why I think Carter Jensen could even take a step further, because obviously Salvador Perez is going to be playing for his country and many others, so we'll be breaking out a video on that. Blake Mitchell provides high-end depth and long-term security at catcher if he's not, ultimately traded. And Kendry Churio gives the system a legitimate high upside arm with rare polish for his age. From where I sit, this is how sustainable organizations are built. Impact talent at premium positions, depth behind it, and upside waiting in the wings. The Royals are clearly stacking those pieces now. I appreciate y'all checking out this video. Make sure you guys smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, and I end every video the exact same way. Have a good day.